Hi, everyone. I'm Bert, and on the call also I have Jeff Kaplan. He will be our moderator today. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will do a Q&A session at the end of today's call, just to go through anything specific that you might have. Today we're going to cover doing actual priming and prompting. Last week we talked about how priming and prompting work, and on a general overview. This week, we're going to actually dive in and do some priming and prompting to teach you the process that goes into it, things to say, general overviews, how to get to a description that's best for your products. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump right into it. Again, please click on chat if you have any questions as we go along, and Jeff will get with you on those questions. So here it is, the lovely ChatGPT 4.0. So if you don't have a paid version, you can use it. It's up to 2,000 tokens, they call it, which is words. So it's not super powerful. If you set it up for a month to build out your primes and your prompts, it's $20. Then you can save those and use those across your business, whether it's in marketing or describing art, creating artwork for your company, rather, building avatars. Priming and prompting are at the heart of how AI works. So what you're going to learn today can be applied across multiple platforms. It's going to give you just a general sense of what priming and prompting are and how they actually are put into practice. So I've gone ahead and I've typed some things out here. So I'm going to start out with review my business at my website, view past auctions on our HiBid account, explain the company to me like I'm an 8th grader. So we're going to drop that in here and we're going to let it take a quick look, and you can do this, obviously replace what we have here with your business, and it's going to give you more information. If you hang on the line after, we could jump through this and walk you through it, or we'll also send out a recording of today's video. So this is breaking it down into an 8th grade description. Gives you a great idea as to what AI thinks of us, right? So a lot of detail goes into this. You can have it, turn it into a flyer, 30-second pitch, web banner, use this to create social media marketing campaign, and you can dive more and more and more and more into this. But what I've done is I've basically said, describe my company to me like I'm an 8th grader, and that's what it did. If you want to describe it like a master's degree, doctorate, you can certainly build and build and build until you get to the right explanation that works for you. From there, I'm going to check out my sold items. So we're going to cross-reference our sold items against other similar items sold on HiBid over the last 6 months. I pre-typed these because I'm not the fastest typer and didn't want to waste anyone's time. So it's thinking through it. You can see there it just jumped into HiBid. It's reading a whole lot about these. So to provide a comprehensive comparison between sold items on Rocket Enterprises and similar items, they need a detailed list of items we sold, including descriptions. So here you can provide your sales data, drop that information in. What we're going to do, we're going to go back up here and we're going to say to review our site within HiBid and use this. So it's like a long Google search. We're really just going through it, but it's a Google search that talks to you and gives you back, pretty solid data as you move along. You'll learn a lot about your company or what the world may perceive your company as. So this is where it gets very interesting. So it's looking at rocket ships, which is not really what we want. So review is what I would say for the auction fuel company. So review Home Depot products sold through HiBid and learn the best description format for increasing auction sales prices. So we're priming, we're getting to the point where we're going to use this data to create our prompt, which is then what we would use with GPT to describe our photos of our actual items. So it will help to, dig through this, and it's going to keep digging and digging in. So it's learning more about what the best HiBid listings contain. Now, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So the reason that we go through this process is because your company's descriptions of your products are going to be different than the auction fuel way of doing it. They're going to be different than every other auctioneer out there. So we want to help to illustrate just how customizable this is to get to the point where when you describe your photos, it's very, very much, to your exacting specifications. You can really, really dive into it to get down to the nitty gritty and, way more information than most of us need. But you can see what it's doing here. It's diving deeper and deeper and deeper into about our company, about the listings that we want to create, everything that has been historically done on HiBid that sells well. So as we keep learning, we're going to cross-reference. We did that already. So based on the summary, we're going to go ahead and try to create a prompt, our prompt one. So now we're going to take a shot. We're going to do a prompt to get the system to help us to be more focused on what we need it to do, which is to describe photos. And by the end, we're going to have it very much focused on actually describing a photo or multiple photos as we go here. So we want to generate fast, accurate, compelling listings using AI vision. So here is a prompt that it's describing to explain a photo. Our goal is to write a clear, search-friendly title, brand, model if available, short professional description, mention use, features, condition, accessories shown, use a tone that's factual but encourages buyers. So that's where it gets interesting, is we want to encourage, more bidding. And beauty of this is it's gone into psychology mode here, right? So we can try and write good descriptions, but we can't all understand psychology the way that a system that's read all the books on psychology in the world has. So now they're going to go into, the science behind, what makes auctions addicting, what makes people, bid in the first place. And they're going to pull in that information. I can't give them all the credit in the world, but it's going to be as if it's written by a scientist who understands buying pattern behavior, right? And so that's where it gets very interesting, is, it does all this in this conversation, and by the end of it, we're going to have a tool that we can use to describe our photos forever. And it's going to take into consideration how much effort we put in on the front end here, what we build into it, and really ultimately what we love and what we want all of our cataloging team to always do when selling product. So you can see here an example output for AI response. There's your title, description. It shows features, information about the product, size, open box condition with light scuffing, keys and casters included as shown. So you can set this up as a reusable jot form, plug it into a workflow like Listernaut's AI interface, for example. And if this is perfect, then yes, you create yourself a prompt and save it, and then you can plug it into Listernaut, or you can use it with ChatGPT, Llama, Perplexity, whatever AI LLM you're using, you can throw in this prompt now, and it's going to describe your photos just so. Now, we're not happy with what it's done there because we want to pull out a little more information. So we want a more refined prompt to describe photos of items to help boost SEO and increase sales prices. So boosting search engine optimization is never been easier, to be quite honest. AI knows what that means. If you talk to 10 different search engine optimization marketing specialists who all charge you an arm and a leg, by the way, they're all going to have a different way that they describe how to get search engine optimization back from searches. This system knows that. It doesn't need to, talk to 10 people to come up with it. It takes those 10 people's ideas and it ranks based on performance of search engine optimizations via Google, and it's going to tell us the keywords necessary to help boost SEO. And we've used this with a number of different clients. We had a phone call from a Home Depot that told us we couldn't sell Kohler faucets anymore because a client of ours was selling Kohler faucets on their website and they were ranking above Kohler and Home Depot. So that shows you the power that the system can have when you use it to your benefit. Now, if you have a consignor like Home Depot, for example, and they say stop doing it, well, you stop doing it. But in the event that you don't, and you're selling, estate sale items, and you want to be ranked as, a top estate sale seller in your area, you can use all of this to not only build great descriptions, great titles, and describing your photos using computer vision. You can rebuild your website and your keywords and your tags and the way that you describe your company. You can build a search engine optimization campaign using priming and prompting. So this is not just about, how do we teach priming and prompting for describing photos for auctions. That's the most important part. It's the most expensive part of the business that we're losing money on every day if items sell for under $20, right? So if items are selling under $20, which if you're anything like everyone I talk to, that's a big chunk of the business. We want to refine that and make money on those items, not lose money, but make money to help, increase profits very quickly. Using AI is just a great tool to make you more efficient. It's not cheating. And if it was cheating, it's fully legal, right? So it's like, why wouldn't you take, performance enhancing supplements if they made you better at a sport? Now, if you're taking drugs, and that's not okay, but this is like a supplement. So it just supplements your business, makes you stronger, makes you better, and is really going to help you throughout the business. It doesn't matter where you use priming and prompting, whether it's, let's get a patch over this bleeding wound and stop the bleeding on our items that are selling under $20. We are losing money every time it sells under, whatever that number is, right? It might be 20, it might be 15, it might be 10 if you're lucky, right? But the overhead that goes into creating a listing, the overhead that goes into, the time to upload it, the overhead that goes into the time to pick it and get it out the door, there's a cost involved. And if you're not aware of that cost, we'll talk about that cost on further trainings, but that cost is a nasty little bugger that's hiding out, that's biting away at your profit margin constantly. And so what we're trying to do here is refine the process of creating the listings, speed that process up. You don't have to ask what a product is if you get a good picture into AI. AI knows what the product is at a much higher clip than any human being on earth. When we get into products of higher value and you want an appraiser to look at those, that appraiser is probably better than AI is, right? So if an appraiser that specializes in coins from a period of 1890 to 1910, that person probably knows more about the value and what is required on those items to be described at the best possible return. However, if they do what I'm doing here, then they can replicate themselves right away. And so that's where AI is interesting. And when I talk to auctioneers or I talk to associations, the question is, how accurate is it? It's as accurate as what we're doing here, based on what you're selling and based on who's teaching it. So if we have an expert on firearms teaching the system, and it tells you, ask what pictures to get, in what order to get the best description, and how to refine that for, Japanese, post-war rifles. This is where you can get really, really, not dangerous, but you can get really, really valuable with this tool. Because if you become the master of using AI to describe anything, well, you become that much faster, your auctions become that much better, your profits drive up because you're not spending as much time, and your client base boosts because of that search engine optimization that we're building into every listing that we have. So it's a very, very powerful tool. It's absolutely ready. It's way ahead of us as an industry, or as humankind, really. It's not just about auctioneers, it's about everyone on earth. And you're probably in the top 2% of knowledge on AI from just attending this call and the last call, because people just aren't learning it fast enough. They'd rather poke holes in it than learn how to actually use it. And that's okay. You can poke holes in it and prove it wrong, but someone else is proving it right and using it. And that's where we encourage everyone to start playing with it, learning about it, using it, and apply it to other areas of your business as well. Use it for describing photos like we did here, but also you're able to use it for much more than that. So what we'll do now is we'll add an image here. We'll have it describe. Okay, let me find one from my, okay, let's see here. Let's try an old Fred Flintstone here. So here's what we're arriving to now. So from there, you can refine it. You can say, a little less, a little more, but what the function here is it's creating a search engine optimization boosting description on this item. So you can see we have a title, a description, and keywords. You can use this to, describe hundreds of photos all at once if you're interested, through the Listernaut app, just by creating a tone and pasting in what it's told us up here. So our prompt here is where we want to pull this information out. So essentially, we're going to grab this. Right here. And I'll just save that so we can use it later, and I'll show you how to plug that in. So that right there is a prompt that you spend time to use, to go through and create yourself a solid prompt, and you like what it does. Say like, oh, this is the best description I've ever seen. That's perfect. I want it to describe all of my products like that. That's where it gets very interesting, and you can use it over and over and over. So I'll do it again here with just another random item. And I'll tell you, this is amazing. It's great. It's fast. The one-by-one process is astounding. Um, if you're familiar with Listernaut Bulk, it can do this on 500 photos all at once and write it all out in a matter of seconds. So the prompt that we've arrived at here is very important for scaling, because now we have it, you own it, we can use it as much as we want to describe our products. You can also do this by category. So if you wanted to focus on, okay, I'm focused on the auction fuel company, and I'm focused on the retail return side of things, and boosting search engine optimization and getting, basic details about the product that I don't ever have to type again in there, and it knows what everything is with good photos. Well, it knows what most everything is. If you want to prove it wrong, like I said, you will be able to prove it wrong. It's just a machine, right? But if you want to prove it right and you want to make your life a lot easier and you want to create your self priming and prompting, by the way, you can save your priming once you arrive at, this is really solid. I want to use this to describe my company in all my collateral moving forward. Copy it, paste it, keep yourself, a little Google Drive of, AI primes and prompts. You will use them, and whether you use them now or you use them in the future, this is where things are going. Now, it seems funny to say, make sure you remember how to do your Google search, but this is a little different. So priming and prompting are feeding the machine with the information it needs to return you, the master of this employee, the best possible feedback for your specific needs. So whether you hate or you love what we've done here, the point really is, going through that priming, making it learn about your business. Tell me a little bit about my business. As I'm, an eighth grader, and it's going to read your website. It's going to spit it back as an eighth grader. Thank you for that. Don't thank it. Actually, it's a robot. Please and thank yous are costing a fortune in energy, according to some certain news outlets I've recently read on AI. But aside from that, make sure that you are telling it what to do, very specific to what you want, and you can do it over and over and over and over until you arrive to the perfect response. What we like to say is done is better than perfect 9 times out of 10. If it's under $20, done is better than perfect, period. You're bleeding out in that area. We're going to walk through how to identify your sales prices on an upcoming call with Jeff Kaplan. But knowing, just general overview, like anything you've sold in the last 12 months that's been under $15 and it's taken you longer than 5 minutes to catalog it, you're probably losing money on it. And that's what we're trying to help. We want to help, auction companies all over the United States fix that problem, because we had the problem when we were running auctions. We didn't identify our costs, and we didn't really know our unit economics. So we did a whole lot of sales, but very little profit. And so the goal here is we want to help anyone that's interested to learn about how to fix these things, to catalog items as fast, better than calling them in a live auction. So when you learn the system, when you learn the priming, the prompting, and you've got it down, and you have your system set up to describe photos the way that you want it to every single time, and you know exactly how to take your photos, which most auction companies take the best photos, let's be honest, right? Your teams are great photographers. They pride themselves on it. Very rarely do you have like blurry bad photos that that someone's like, yep, that's my final product. No, they want to fix it. They want it to be good. So good information into AI equals good information out of AI. And the same can be said for bad information. If you put in bad photos and you put in no prompt, it's not going to be what you want. So if you're dumping photos into, Google or GPT here, and you don't have a prompt, it will describe them and it will give you information. If it's blurry, if it's bad, it might fail until you can't describe that photo as shown, but probably, most likely, it's going to describe it and give it a run for its money. So that being said, think about the tool that's available. And if all you have to do is play around with the systems, do a little priming, teach it about yourself, tell it what you want it to learn, and then tell it exactly what to do to describe photos, that's your cataloging function. And that's where you're going to really get ahead and save a ton of time and headache and profit in going through, a typical estate sale or a typical auction to catalog 700 items. Usually what we see, it takes weeks or a week, 4 or 5 people. Takes them, 40 hours a week to do it. With the Listernaut system, or with any other AI system for that matter, it can be cut down to hours. With one person, you're talking about taking 1,400 photos. Now, I understand going into an estate is usually a hoarder's paradise and it's a mess. But nevertheless, a couple people in there, one expediting or cleaning up and making lots, and one taking photos, is tremendously faster than trying to figure out what everything is, describing it, typing it, or writing it, and then taking pictures and naming your pictures. Like, all these things are costing you time and money. The profits are being eaten alive because it just takes too long, and you don't achieve the hammer price that you need to, which is, based on your business. You should know, or you can learn, how long does it take? What does it cost me to list one item? And when you learn that, then what's my overhead, eat at that. And then what's my pickup time, eat away at that. And by the end of it, you'll see, like, I'll be darned, I am losing $4 every time I sell something under $10. And it's terrifying, but hey, you've got to dive in and learn that, because that can be a big profit boost for the company. You can save the company if it's that dire. And that's really what we're trying to do, is to help companies to really pick themselves back up, save the business, understand the actual unit economics and the numbers. It's just math. So we just want to figure out, like, where's the math eating us, and fix that. And what we found is that the biggest gaping wound in the auction industry right now is cataloging time on items under a certain value threshold, say $20. Everything under $20 is not worth listing. And so we have to list it. We need to list it. We have a fiduciary responsibility to list it, but it hurts our business. So this is a tool that will make it more effective. It will save the day for you. It's going to take your listing time down from 10 minutes down to 10 seconds. And so now you have that time back. You can add more consigners if you want, or you can just watch your profits go up by spending less time on these auctions that sometimes are profitable because you had a couple big items. And many times, if you look at the overall picture, auction wasn't bad, but if you really dissect it down to the low value items, you're losing money on those. And this is where we start. Let's fix that first. Then let's get good enough to go into the $100 range, the $200, the $500 range. When you get into the thousands, many thousands, that's when you want to create the catalog quickly, put it into a format that can be reviewed and is very easy to use and intuitive for your best and brightest to look at. So if you have an appraiser on staff, or if you have, if your lead auctioneer is that person, or you're that person, and you're like, I know what everything is, I want to look at it all. Look at everything over a price threshold, and that's not hard at all. It's actually going to save you time, because you're probably getting phone calls and texts, what is this, all day long. And so this will really help to refine that, put it in a format that's super easy and intuitive to do quality control on, and get you, 90% of the way there. Over $10, $5, $10, $2,000, right? Over a threshold, you absolutely want human eyes to look at it, because you don't want to, be foolish and think that AI is perfect. It's not perfect, but under a certain price threshold, it's really, really good. It's better than what most auctioneers are doing, and they're spending 10x the time. So learning how to use this tool, applying it on your lower value items is where, as a company, Listernaut really recommends to start. Let's focus on, the estate sale item, or the smalls, or the items that don't achieve higher hammer price. And then once you got it down pat, then let's take some time and really customize a prime and prompt to identify better descriptions on more expensive items. And then as it grows and as it gets better, depending on the items that you sell, you'll be the expert. You'll be able to prime it, to teach it what it needs to know, to become that expert to describe the products that you're after. And then once that's done, we have a great format for you to check it out and do any quality control. As a matter of fact, we're looking at one right now. So if you were able to copy and paste this and make any edits that you'd like to it, great. There's other platforms that are much better than the one-by-one system. However, that's really the name of the game. So hopefully this has been valuable. We are going to stay on the line for questions and answers if anyone has any questions. If you want to dive into any specifics about your business, we're happy to do that. And so now we'll go ahead and open the floor to anybody that has questions. Jeff, if you want to unmute the line, we can go ahead and do it.
Yep. Welcome everybody. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or just feel free to jump in. I'm Jeff Kaplan, one of the founders of Listernaut. Excited to join today and look forward to some of the upcoming seminars we're putting on.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Mark Seidman. I'm a board advisor at Listernaut, and I'm curious if the people on the line, are these people using Listernaut? Where are you guys at in your journey? Are you new? Are you onboarding? Are you thinking about a solution? Are you comparing? Are you value shopping, comparative shopping? I kind of want to hear who's on the line, where they're at, and if need be, maybe the next step, I'd like to see Bert, if maybe take this prompt, put it in LN to create a tone, and know if people even are aware of that, and seeing the next step and how to use that in the system.
Absolutely. We'll do that now. And if you do have any questions, yell them out. Yeah. We'll do a training tone, and then what we'll do is we'll copy in what we had from the conversation, and we'll drop it right into the tone content. So now we've added our tone. We'll go here to catalog with photos, create a pod, and then we'll do our bulk uploader. So what the bulk uploader is, it allows me to drop in a number of different photos. So let me do that now. I'll go ahead and do my barcode separator format here to give you an idea of what that looks like. So this barcode separator, if used, can be used as a separator to break these apart into individual lots. You can also split manually. You can also name your lots, your photos, whether like 1_1, 1_2, or you can have a fixed lot size of all the same amount of photos, which seems obscene, but some people do it that way. Here we'll go to barcode separator, and then we will create our lots. So what it does is it reads the sticker barcode and it creates your lot number. So if you have a team working on multiple different lot numbers around a building, it will read those and it will put them in order for you. So you don't have to worry about, how am I, what do I do if I'm out of order? As long as your first picture looks like these do, and your first picture is of the barcode lot sticker, you don't have to worry about that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and update the pod. Here it's going to say, do I want to remove that? We don't want that to be our lead image, so absolutely get it out of there. We don't need it anymore. If we want to keep adding, we add. If not, we'll just X out of this, and then we're going to drop in our AI tone. We added training. Looks familiar. It's what we just did. There's that information that drops in, a lot of info. Now from here, we go to options, analyze. There we go. That's 4 seconds. 4 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. 10 items processed in 4 seconds. So now what it's done is it's used that tone that we created. It's written out all the information for us in the format that we requested. A lot of different information it will pull in. We don't need all that. We need the description and the title. We need the lot number, of course, too. And then if we want the price is in there as well. So we can dump in a mass amount of photos, use that one prompt to describe everything in the way we want it to, and you can see how quickly it can build an auction out for you. So that's one of our new processes that we've launched. It's been tested and approved. So now that system is built in. We are happy to walk anyone through how to use it. We absolutely do go through a training on all the systems as you learn about it. And then once you're done cataloging, we send it back to our Listernaut account. And I'll show you what that looks like. And this is where, your appraiser or your lead auctioneer or the smartest person in the room is where we want them to go, right? So catalogers catalog, everything writes out. You can also standardize your title if you'd like. So HiBid is what we have built in to cut it at 50 characters. I'll just show you what that looks like here, and it's going to change all those titles for us. Now, I've already pushed it over, so I'm not going to push it again, but you can have a custom prompt for your titles. You can have a custom prompt for your descriptions. So it can be very much a powerful tool for your company to get this done in no time. So what I'll do is I'm just going to log back into my main account, and that should be living in here under manage pods in a pod called training. There it is. So the user interface that I spoke about for the brains of the operation to look at, this is it. So you can go down the line and you can see it's going to capture a retail price. So if you were to sort by the retail price, or you just wanted to go through and say, oh, that's expensive, let's look. Okay, 3/4 range, is that what that is? Yeah, that looks like it. That looks like it. Okay. And right, yeah, okay, that all looks pretty good. Oh, we don't like that. Take that question mark out of there. Now the keywords in this case for search engine optimization. So it's long, but this is for search engine optimization. What we find is that a lot of people don't read the descriptions. They look at the pictures. And so this is more for you, for your business. It's going to drive traffic your way from the general public. So if this is good enough for your description, great. I would, in this case, keep keywords because I want to boost my SEO. So I leave those in there. It's going to pull in an online average sales price on every item. It's also going to pull in weight and dimensions on every item. We are synced with Shipping Saint. If you're using Shipping Saint shipping software, we work with other shipping softwares as well to push this information directly in to cut down on costs there as well. So that process is how you do the bulk uploader. We also have a feature built in where you can use a camera on your phone to scan barcodes and or take pictures as you go. You don't have to do it in bulk, but what we see is, when we first train companies, they don't want to disrupt their team that much. And so the disruption is, team, you take great photos, keep doing that. What about writing everything on a piece of paper or in the system or on Excel? You don't have to do that anymore. Okay, what else? There's nothing else. Just take good pictures and do it the way you've always done it. And the system does everything else for you. And it does it as a genius, right? And so it's going to know all the books in the world, all the websites in the world. It's just, how did you teach your AI child here how to write your descriptions? And that's really all it is. It's, if you had an employee that you could hire for $20 an hour today, that they're like, I've read all the books in the world and I've looked at all the websites in the world and I know everything. You just have to ask me the right question. Obviously you'd hire them, and you would invest some time into teaching them how to write your titles and descriptions in the best format possible. That's what AI is, right? It's that, period. So if you're concerned about AI being accurate, if you're concerned about AI not working, focus on teaching your new employee better, and that's it. And you don't have to teach it very long. You just have to teach it over a matter of a couple hours. If you have a lot of categories that you want to dive into, it might take you, an hour per category at first, and then as you build out your priming, it's very simple. So if you think of it that way, I think that it starts to come full circle. Like, AI is ready. Not embracing AI is not good. It's not good because it's like the Industrial Revolution. I'm not going to automate to machinery. Well, we know what happened to the companies that didn't. And so this is the artificial intelligence revolution. That's all there is to it. No one's explaining it that way, but that's what it is. And so if we don't learn how to use it and everyone around us does, their profits go up, their timelines go down, they can take on more consigners, their fiduciary responsibility becomes more and more effective because they can catalog individual items faster than we can catalog box slots. And at the end of the day, how does this shift the industry time? And that's really our focus is get ahead of that, teach everyone that wants to learn about it for free and walk through how the system works. So whether you use Listernaut or not, that's not what this is all about. This is more about like teaching our peers and our friends in the industry how AI works, how to think of AI. Like the smartest employee in the world, it just needs to be coached along. And then once you get it locked down, the most effective tools for your business. So whether it's cataloging, whether it's creating marketing campaigns, creating SOPs for the business operations, creating artwork, things of that nature. We'll go through all of that in subsequent training sessions. And, we're very much open to discussing all the competition we have in the cataloging space. So if you're interested in learning about AI cataloging, we are happy to explain to you, the pros and the cons. And if you're doing it with anyone, happy for you to do it. You're ahead of the curve. I would say, if you want to learn about it in a fair and honest way, book a meeting with me. I'll shoot you straight. I'm not interested in selling for sales sake. I'd rather, become partners with clients, at least to be a friend in the industry and make sure that my knowledge isn't just wasted on one company. And again, I can't emphasize enough. I'm really excited about what I just said there, so I'm going to say it again. If someone walks into your office for the job opening you have at $20 an hour to be a cataloger, and they tell you, and they've read all the books in the world and they've reviewed all the websites in the world, they can read all the email addresses that you've ever sent in 25 seconds, and they can turn around and, be your voice, do it exactly how you want it to be done every single time forever. You'd hire that person immediately. And you would also take a week to train them, if not, the rest of your life, to make them the best employee of all time. So think of AI like that, and if you grasp it in that manner, it can really, really turn things around. It can help boost profits overnight. It can make your team more effective. It can make your team, more employable too. So if you think of it, we're not replacing people, we're turning auction catalogers into experts of AI. And so whether they, stay in auction cataloging forever or they get out and they go to a different position, what they'll learn from you through this AI priming and prompting is going to be invaluable to them as well. So we really hope to help out as many people as we can, and thank everyone for joining today. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. We're at listernaut.com. You can book a demo anytime. If you're a client, reach out with any questions you might have, and we'll be in touch. Thanks everybody for joining.